All right, welcome back to As New. We got a show for you. See the energy? I have energy, Craig. Is this good energy?
Oh, you got energy.
It was crazy. I was walking, like, everybody's walking into Google I/O, massive amounts of people, and there's like people who are paid by Google to like get people excited when they're walking in, high-fiving people. I'm like, do you know me? And then I like was walking by somebody.
Barry's like, no human contact. Do not touch me.
So like 9:30.
No, a guy with a chainsaw.
Yeah, that was great. At 9:30 a.m., I'm like walking down. I'm like, how long have you been? I asked one of the people, like, how long have you been like clapping people's hands for? Yeah, since 6:30. I'm like, oh my God, I don't pay you enough. Anyway.
No. Oh my God.
So that was I/O. It was very interesting. I had a lot to talk about when it comes to I/O. So let's just get into it, I guess, right? Let's just get into it. Sounds good?
Please do.
Love it.
I'm interrupting you because you said I should interrupt you whenever.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So I don't really see these guys because I'm on a smaller screen, but Google announced a bunch of stuff at I/O yesterday. I'm going to just talk about the search specific stuff. We have Google Marketing Live today. So Anu and Greg will talk about that tomorrow on our show after that's announced. But Google announced that AI mode is going live in the US. We called it. We knew that would happen, even though, I mean, it's not a big shock. Yeah, so it's going to be a separate tab. Let me talk a little bit about that. So no sign up required. You're going to see the tab. We're probably going to check now. I'm in the US. Testing 1, 2, 3, pyramids. I don't see AI mode. I guess it depends on the query.
Well, do you know what you're showing on your screen right now? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh God.
And it should be showing up people in the US by default. Maybe it's like not in workspace, so maybe whatever. I don't know if anybody. Greg, you see it? AI mode by default?
I see it when I search. There is a tab AI mode. Only not on my business Google account, but on my personal.
Yeah, which I opted in for, so I can't really. Okay,
yeah,
anyway.
I opted in too, so I don't know.
It's hard to know. In any event, so that's going live at some point, and everybody's going to have access to it in the US. If you're outside of the US, sorry, you guys are outside of the US, so you don't get it. But sorry about that. But in terms of Search Console, so I sat down with Hema, the VP at Google Search, right after the keynote, and I'm like, will you break down like, AI mode or AI overviews in search performance reports? No, we won't. And got the whole PR spin. It was pretty bad. And then I'm like, could you give us controls to block our content from being used in AI mode or in AI overviews, separate from Google Search and separate from Vertex? And they're like, no, you don't want to be in search. That includes AI mode and AI overviews. So Google won't let us break it down in Search Console, but they also won't let us, block it from being indexed. Part of that AI mode is using a custom version of Gemini 2.5, which makes it faster and more powerful and so forth. So that's the AI mode that's going live or is live in the US right now. Then they announced a bunch of lab features for AI mode, which is rolling out now and over the course of the next few months. One is deep search, which actually is stolen from Bing when Bing launched Copilot and their AI stuff in December 2023. Microsoft announced their deep search project, which was AI powered search. They recently renamed it this year to Copilot Search in Bing, but Bing or Microsoft initially named it deep search. Now there's going to be a deep search button, which basically gives you a crazy amount of analysis on a topic that you're searching for by looking at a huge amount of citations and so forth, and gives you this like expert type of report that you can actually go ahead and see and break out on. So that's deep search. Again, feel free to stop me at any time if you want to. Live search is also out there where you could like use Google Lens and multimodal search, where you could take a walk around with your phone, start walking around, looking at Mordy's hat and be like, Mordy, I don't want to ask you this. So I'm just going to ask Google, what is that hat you wearing? And then it's going to be like, oh, the hat he's wearing is a New York Yankees hat from 1994 and so forth.
Mordy has something to say about that.
1994. I mean, first, if that was a strike year, we should have won the World Series. But yeah.
Okay.
And so Barry, just
robbed Tom Mattingly. Robbed them.
Quick. The live search is only available via Lens, correct? And then deep search is an option only within AI mode.
Correct. It looks like live search is only in the Google app for now, and it's not launching today, or maybe it is, or soon. Not exactly sure when that's launching. The cool thing about this is what's going to be. This is what kind of powers those new AR glasses from the Project XR, Android XR, which was demoed live on stage and had some hiccups, which is the whole thing. But this is really cool stuff, and like visual AR stuff embedded in your glasses. I'm all for that because I'd rather not ask people questions when I see them.
I thought that stuff was cool, but I wonder like how good is it really, and how usable is it really? There was one memory like that. She's walking around with a phone. And what was it?
Translation?
She was like, oh, check out that Corvette over there.
Right.
And it was correcting it and saying, no, that's not a Corvette. That's a garbage truck.
Yeah.
I felt a lot of the things were when they show the visual stuff was very general. Like when they showed, what can I do to make this structure better?
Right. So there was two things with that. One is a machine to understand that if you say that's a car and for it to say, no, it's not, it's pretty cool from a technology standpoint. And that's like
very cool. Thing. Yes.
Two, and to tell if a tree is short or tall from a technology standpoint.
Very cool.
Visual. That's amazing from a technology standpoint.
I would just say that those were like those were produced.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The live demo.
How many pens are in this mug?
So I think I was at the live demo, and the live demo failed. I don't think because the glasses failed. I think because they were overheating because they were trying to project it on these massive screens.
Yeah.
And they were like, I think that was the issue. I think they were actually working. The person was actually responding, but it was so slow when it was projecting onto the screens that it didn't work, which they should have probably tested.
Like if I said there are 17 pens in here, would it say no? There are 15.
But it will remember where your pens are, which is pretty cool. Like I don't really forget things like that, but like my wife's, where to put my glasses? I'm like, I don't know. Where to put my phone? I'm like, I don't know, but it remembers for people because it's constantly watching, which is creepy and cool. And then they have personal context in AI mode, which basically would be like, if you want, allow Google to read my Gmail emails or look through my docs or through my Google Drive at some point. And it's going to go ahead and be like, oh, I'm going to actually look through this stuff, which I think Copilot does if you enable it as well. And to give you answers based on your personalized information. Again, you could turn it off at any moment. So I'm not too concerned about that. And then custom charts and analysis, which is pretty cool. Like they give a Yankees or a sports thing there, which Mordy could go ahead and
that was so basic. They made it sound so advanced. It was so basic.
It's cool that it makes a chart for you, though.
That part is cool. That part is super cool. What it literally did was you can Google it. I mean, I promise you how simple this was. Google who's using a torpedo bat. There's multiple lists like on Yahoo Sports or whatever of all the players using the bat. Then Google who are notable players. It's already in the knowledge graph. And then Google Aaron and Judge stats. It's already tracking in the knowledge graph all of the stats. All it did was take those three very simple queries, pull them together, and put into a really cool ass chart. I can say put into a really cool chart.
Yeah, that's super helpful. You just saved three searches into one. I don't know why you're not like poo-pooing it.
I don't have a problem with that. My problem is with what they did yesterday was that it was a lot of smoke and mirrors and making things sound more than they actually were or actually are in reality. And
but people were clapping.
No, people were not. Clapping. By the way, if you look at the video, you'll see like a lot of times, like at one point, she's like, "Come on, everybody!" And they clap more. Like it wasn't
Mordy,
what they thought.
Mordy, what do you think they're going to do? They're so far behind ChatGPT that they can't do any of these things. And to see the AI mode can actually do that quickly, that's really cool.
No, of course they're going to do this. But the problem is that all of this. I mean, you want a hot take of hot takes?
Hot take.
Okay. In 2 years, by what year are we in? 2025. By this time in 2027, Liz Reed will either be fired or will she move to another team that's completely nothing to do, like a higher title that's got nothing to do with search. I'll tell you. Wait, can I tell you why?
Because they've been doing that for the past 2 years.
Yeah, because they've been doing it. No, but because no one at C-level ever gets fired, right? So not going to fire the CEO, CMO, or whatever. A head has to roll for what's going on because they're running duplicate products. It's very confusing. It's going to hit the fan at a certain point, and at a certain point, the reality of the overselling and what the thing can or can't do is going to hit a reality. And by the way, a lot of what they did was just like, yeah, you can integrate this and you can integrate that. It was nothing new. This is going to hit the fan, and her job is the sweet spot in a corporate structure like that to get axed or to get moved to another team as instead of getting axed.
just to be clear, she did stay on and say this AI mode is the future of search. I confirmed that with Google PR. She said that outright.
Sure it is.
And when I asked Hema, a Google executive who basically wrote the blog post, she said the reason they're making AI mode the future, which when I asked her, she like looked at the PR person next to her and saying, "Can I say that?" You know, the person was like, "Yes." So I'm like, "Okay, this is good to say." And she basically was like, "It's not like Google's changing search. It's searchers are changing how they want answers, and that's where they're going." So if they get AI mode right, I mean, we'll see. I mean, they tested it, so hopefully it is. And then I'll move on. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Greg.
No, I think they've got AI mode right. And I think the AI overviews are just their holdover that will be disappearing as fast as they humanly can get it to disappear.
It funnels people into AI mode.
Yep,
yeah,
right.
For now. And then they announced a bunch of cool shopping features around AI mode. One thing is the shopping graphs now have over 15 billion products. The cool thing is every hour, Google updates like 2 billion of these product listings refreshed all the time, which is pretty cool to see that. And the really cool thing is the ability to like track prices and the agent type of stuff in there, where once you start tracking a price, it will then go ahead and go through that whole thing about like potentially giving you the option to actually buy that with doing all those matches for you. Now, Google Sundar Pichai and was very clear, it's not going to actually hit buy for you. You're going to have to actually do that at the end because we don't want to like accidentally buy like a Lamborghini for you. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool, and it's getting closer to that experience. I did ask Hema, like, how do small businesses play in this game? Like, what, like Expedia, Travelocity, booking an airline ticket? You're probably Google's going to go there. How's a small mom and pop like, travel agency going to get in there? And she was like, honestly, it's very early. I don't really know. I mean, we'll see. It's a journey right now.
Yeah, well, travel shouldn't be shopping, right? That's more the agentic experience.
Yeah, so buying Nike shoes, you're going to go to Foot Locker, or you're not going to go to like a small little mom and pop store around corner. Yeah. Maybe.
And I also think like now is a perfect time to bring the Google Shopping app back, right? I think, Barry, you said you still have it on there. I don't know why they ever killed that. And it looks like the notifications come from Google Shopping, which is strange also. Yeah. But I don't know why they ever killed that. They should bring that back.
It might. I mean, shopping is something they always wanted to do. All right, so that's the AI mode stuff. Then they talked about AI overviews as well in that. It was kind of mixed in there. It's launching, expanding, which again we saw because Mordy saw it in Israel and a bunch of people saw it across Turkey and a bunch of different countries. More than 200 countries, more than 40 languages, including like Hebrew, Arabic, Chinese, etc. And there's this interesting stat that kind of like nobody really talked about: 10% growth in search queries when AI overviews on the page. Big slide. Sundar Pichai put it on there. So I asked him, like, does that mean people are happy with the search results? And yeah, of course, Google's going to say yes, because they always say is they love AI overviews. They're happy. People are more engaged with them, and they're searching more. Google, I mean, when I spoke to Elizabeth Tucker back when I interviewed her about searches and people being happy and so forth and how they measure that, she's like, if people do more searches in the long term, people are happy. If they do more searches in the short term and then they leave and they don't come back ever, they're not happy. So this is basically saying, according to the data, people are sticking around. They're doing more searches. And I asked him, are you sure this is people happy? She said, yes, these are happy people. Happy people searching.
I like how they have just like structured data on the happiness of searchers.
Yes. Yeah. And then I asked about like, all right, since people are happy, and what about this whole thing around click-through rates and so forth? And she's like, people are staying on the sites longer. I'm like, people are staying on sites longer. So people are clicking. Can you tell us if people are clicking more when the AI overviews are on the page, or clicking less when they're or when and so forth? And she's like, she's giving me a whole PR spin. I'm like, can I just say no comment because you're not giving me the answer? And she's like, yeah. So it was pretty frustrating.
Do you think SMX would be like upset if I like drop a data point that I'm going to share there about that here? All right. So this whole thing about people
save it.
Save it? No, too late. Time spent on site from organic search is down 26% since 2021.
Could you break that down by AI overviews versus not?
No, I can't. But so so now you're in a funny place saying that, yeah, but only for like it's down a lot.
But the average 4 years.
The average time spent on site, it was 10 minutes. Now it's down to 7 minutes.
How, are you using GA data for that?
No, I'm using clickstream data.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then finally,
So
AI overviews
weird.
are powered by Gemini 2.5, like AI mode is. So that's the news out of AI, and just to have to, because there's been a lot of ranking volatility since yesterday, and I have to say it. There's a lot of ranking volatility. I'm calling the Google I/O 2025 search ranking update, and you can see the charts. They're pretty wild. And I use ChatGPT actually for that header image. Usually I use Midjourney. For that one, I use ChatGPT. So check out that header image. It's pretty cool. Anything else, guys, before we head off?
No, we've talked too long already.
Yeah.
No, I think AI mode is the future. The future. That's the big takeaway. All Google will be AI mode.
And Liz Reed will be here for at least 2+ years. That's the takeaway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And more news tomorrow with Google Marketing Live with a new and Greg will take that one. So stay tuned for that. Bye.
Information overload.
Bye.